I'm going to issue a trigger warning here, because I'm going to be really honest and open with everyone. We're about to talk about mental health. We're about to talk about suicide. We're about to talk about specifically my mental health and my history in and around suicide. We're about to talk about that. I know this is all about wrestling. You know where this is coming from. But there are certain things as regards wrestling, social media, that really need addressing. Really need addressing. So I'm going to have a really open conversation with everyone about my experience. I'm asking you for this is going to be a trigger warning. A trigger warning. You are welcome to leave if you would prefer for the next 10 minutes or so. You are welcome to lurk in mute if you don't want to listen but you still want to support the channel. Okay? Safe space. It is up to you what you do here. So I'm going to start talking. It's quite long, but it's important. We're going to talk about suicide in wrestling and the lessons we need to teach as well as the lessons we need to learn. This is not an easy conversation to have, and I completely understand if it isn't a conversation you want to listen to. If you want to drop out or lurk on mute, you're welcome to do so. I completely understand. I'm issuing a trigger warning here. Shannon Claire Spruill, more commonly known as Daphne, was recently found dead. She's believed to have committed suicide, though I don't believe that's been confirmed as of yet. Shortly before this, she appeared on Instagram Live, where she said her goodbyes. I haven't seen the video. I don't intend to. I didn't know Daphne, but I know suicide. In fact, I know suicide very well indeed, so I wanted to have an open, frank conversation about it. I do not know what Daphne's situation was, but I do know that reaching the stage at which you decide to end your life is not something that happens overnight. Speaking personally, it is a lifelong battle with your own sense of self-worth. When I sit here and tell you that I hate myself, I mean it. When I make jokes about this ugly mug being, I mean it. I always have. It took me a long time to accept the fact, also, that I always will, and to come to terms with that. Statistically, even now, when I'm in a very good place, I am most likely to die from suicide. That is unquestionable fact. A lot of people in my life, sad or not, would not be all that surprised to see me go out that way. You see, one little known thing. Hello Brillman, welcome to the show. Thank you for the gift sub. You've come in at a very heavy conversation, but thank you for that. In fact, your name is on this. You'll see why. One little known thing about this is that once you stand on the edge of that precipice, you don't come back. You never come back. I have always been standing on that edge, staring down and wondering what would happen. Some dark side of me has always been daring myself to do it. Thank you Wiggly as well for the gift sub. I really do appreciate that. The support and the donations are going a really long way, so thank you guys. As regards Daphne, nobody is to blame here. There doesn't seem to be any suggestion of social media harassment that I've seen. Friends of Daphne right now are going to be blaming themselves for not doing more, but it's not their fault. In my experience, this is a choice that you make with definable logic. During my last suicide attempt, I remember a moment in which I felt my heart slow down. In which I felt joy that I had succeeded. Because at that moment I had convinced myself that it was the correct thing to do. That I had saved those that loved me from having to love me. That I was making the world a better place. The reason I'm still locked in that moment is because it is, to this day, the single happiest moment of my entire life. That's what I haven't said yet. Literally nothing I have ever done has ever come close to that single moment of joy when I thought I had successfully ended it all. It haunts me. Now that's my experience. I have also known a neighbour take her life early in the lockdown last year. I've seen the end results on other people that I never expected to see. Wrestling right now seems to be developing a mental health problem. The world seems to be developing a mental health problem. Suicide rates are up, and in wrestling, cases of suicide are very visible. I can sit here and say, be kind and then move on, but that's not enough. I can come for the throats of people causing this, but that's not going to fix anything either. It's just violence begetting violence. The clockwork orange continues to tick. So let's try something else. I want to ask anyone seeing this to remember, to hold to account, and to forgive. Carl Anderson got a load of trouble for being disrespectful of Daphne's memory. He did that. Remember it. Hold him to account for it. But forgive. Know when to stop. Don't turn into the bully. And that's just an example. How many more things have happened since on social media where for one day people cared about being kind and then the next day they are ripping each other apart all over again. Also remember the people on Twitter, on Facebook, always seemingly on social media who try to play act as decent people. Those that attack and bully others for the likes and for the lols, and then try to tell people to reach out, to help and support, to talk to them. There are people in the past that I have reached out to when I was bad. Some were there for me. Many of you are still there for me right now in the chat or the Discord or just plain being where I know I can reach you. I wrote down some names here. I wrote down Ed. I wrote down Mags. Brillman, I wrote down you. Just to remind myself that if I get really bad, here are people that I trust. People that I just genuinely trust and like. Others promised me they would be there, except the moment things got tough, they were nowhere to be found. I have a very difficult time staying positive in a wrestling fandom that is proven to be wishing my failure. Just this week, I've come under attack, and what are those people perpetuating that doing? They're telling people to reach out and never feel alone. They're telling people that they're such good people. If my workplace was public, do you know what those same people would be doing? They'd be desperately emailing my workplace telling them to fire me, telling them to cut off my income, make me homeless and make me suicidal all over again. This time last year, I left for 3 months because of that abuse. And when I came back, there was a whole lot more waiting for me. They knew I was suicidal. They chose to continue. I remember these people. I hold them to account, and yes, most of them I forgive. We are all human beings. Fierce, strong, and delightfully fragile. I may be stealing a few Doctor Who lines here, but we're just trying to live the best lives that we can and find people that we connect with. At the same time, our current age of social media means that people can avoid taking any responsibility. Social media can literally drive someone to suicide and then say, why can't people just be kind? We don't live in a world in which anyone is safe from the court of angry Karens, the Karen kangaroo court, if you will. My question, as much as anything, is how many more do we have to lose before we learn? I'm not going to sit here and say, be kind. I'm going to sit here and say to all of you that the love and support you have shown me has at times kept me here. And by here, I don't mean live on stream, I mean actually still here. I have a lot of love for all of you, even if you haven't been here long. You are my people. You are my family. If you need me, reach out to me. Reach out to each other. Amidst all this chorus of be kind, I would love to offer a different mantra. Care. I care about you even if I've never met you. The greatest weapon against suicide is not blanket kindness. It's just caring. Don't just care when someone's happy. Don't just care when it's beneficial to you. Don't just care in words or when you get called out and it seems convenient to care. Care about strangers on hard times. Care about people that hate you. That's my rule. And that's what I have always endeavoured to do. Care.